What's going on? It's Plumb and Prodigy here. Today I'm hooking up this AquaTru under sink reverse osmosis system. The first thing I'm doing is making sure I have everything as listed in the instructions, just so that I don't get to a certain part and then realize I'm missing something and have to put it all back. It's always a good idea to glance over the instructions before you start and make sure you have all the tools necessary. The first step was turning off the water. It made it real easy because I have these handy gate valves right under my sink. And then I took off the cold water supply line and added on this stop that comes with it. When I went to go turn the water back on, water started spraying out of the top of the stop, and I figured out that it was a bad gasket inside the supply line. So I had another one, and I went ahead and changed that out. When putting it back together this time, I did use Teflon, even though I didn't before, just to be safe. After that, I connected the white PE tubing with the compression nut and lightly tightened it with the channel locks. This is where you would drill your hole. I already had my hole drilled because I previously installed a reverse osmosis and it didn't work. So I already had the hole there. Next, I just tightened up these screws lightly. Next, I put on the RO faucet with this plastic nut on the bottom, tightened it with my hand, and then I put on the fitting that will attach that to the PE pipe with some Teflon as well, and tightened it a little bit. Next, I put some Teflon on the top of the tank, twisted on this weird thing, couldn't tell you what it's called. Put some Teflon on that, twisted on my valve. And then I put all my filters in. It's pretty easy, just kind of push them in there and twist until the arrow lines up. And there was 3 of them. Used my level here to hold it level while I marked out the holes with the Sharpie, and then just drilled a screw in until it was sticking out about a 1/4 inch. Then I routed my main water line around behind the tank. After I positioned that correctly, I carefully cut the pipe straight and tried to make sure there was no burrs on it, and inserted in these push connect fittings, pulled out a little bit, and inserted that blue little clip to hold it. And I cut the pipe to size and routed one pipe from the filter to the faucet and one to the tank, and then I took my one piece of yellow pipe, routed it from the drain location, and inserted it into the drain manifold. After all connections were made, everything's in place, I went ahead and slowly turned that water on and made sure everything was not leaking. Let's be honest here, there was a few leaks I had to address. Some of them were due to the push connect fittings not being all the way in, and I just had to mess with them a little bit. The instructions said I have to completely empty the tank 2 times before drinking the water. So while that was going on, I decided to clean up this area a little bit and strap up this dishwasher drain up to the wall so it's kind of out of the way and it looked a little bit nicer. I used a right angle bit on my impact, and then put a little escutcheon on there, and of course I couldn't leave that cold water line how it was. this foam so that an escutcheon would fit over top of that. I will also mention there was one leak on the tank valve because I over tightened it and the gasket broke, so I had to get a new gasket on that tank valve, and now it works fine. There could also be a leak if you have really high pressure coming out of your cold water lines, in which case you can try turning that valve maybe halfway open. That might reduce the pressure a little bit, but other than that, the system works. I've had it in for a few days. It's been running fine. I've been drinking the water. It tastes good. It smells good. Haven't had any issues so far, and I would recommend the product.